Hi everyone and welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Wumi Ajayi. If you're new to this channel, this is a channel where we talk everything marriage, and it's with the mindset that making a success of marriage is not about being man enough or being woman enough. There's nothing like that. It's about the intentional effort that the two people in marriage are putting into their marriage to make it work. And some of those intentional efforts include learning, continuous learning in marriage to make it better. If you have not subscribed, please do subscribe. And if you know people that will benefit from the content of this channel, please do share my videos with them. You never know, you might be saving a marriage. And on that note, I'm going to go into what I've got for you today. Today, I'm starting a two-part series looking at marriage mindset. And that's because we need to think right if we are going to act right. So, if we are going to act right in our marriages, in our relationships towards our spouse, then we need to have the right mindset. And in marriage, we see two people come together from different backgrounds. They come physically together, they commit to each other, they make up their minds to start their own family, and it is expected that these two people will join their heart and their minds together in marriage, without which they cannot work together and they cannot make a success of their union. But one major factor that comes into this joining of hearts and minds, this working together of these two people, is the mindset that they are both bringing into the marriage relationship, their marriage mindset. And having the right perspective when it comes to marriage is crucial if we're going to have a marriage that lasts, if we're going to have lasting partnership in our marriage relationships. Now, a mindset refers to a person's established set of attitudes. It's already established. That's why it's called a mindset. They establish values concerning culture, values, philosophy, their frame of reference when it comes to making decisions, their outlook, and their disposition. And the mindset that we hold about different things, can develop from our beliefs, culture, our environment, our past experiences, our faith, and so on and so forth. Our mindset influences all areas of our lives. An individual's capacity for perception, their capacity to process, to understand, to interpret information, depends on their mindset, because our mindset, they function like a filter. Because our mindset is our frame of reference. It's how we make meaning. It's what forms our pattern of perception. So sometimes people hear things and they can't make sense of it because they have a mindset that is contrary to the things that they're hearing. And that's why sometimes couples go into counseling and they make nothing of it because their mindset is completely wrong and they have not identified it and they are not aware of it and they are not making effort to shift those negative and wrong mindset that is affecting them. And also, an individual's capacity for development is associated to their mindset. If somebody does not have a growth mindset, then it will impact their capacity to develop. And in marriage, if you have a wrong mindset, it will affect how we actually grow in our marriage. Our mindset influences our behavior. It influences the behaviors that we adopt or the behaviors that we accept as being right and the choices that we make. And that's why in Romans 12:2, the Bible encourages us to not conform to the pattern of this world, but to be transformed by the renewing of our minds. Because it is when we make efforts to renew our minds that we're able to transform from wrong and negative mindsets that are not helping us, so that we have the right mindset when it comes to marriage and other areas of our lives. In marriage, our marriage mindset encapsulates the attitudes, the beliefs, the expectations, and the approaches that we bring into marriage. It's our internal narratives, it's our assumptions, it's the things that we consciously hold on to, that we've inherited either from the culture or absorbed from the culture, from our family growing up, from our personal experiences, and all that. And when we have those wrong mindsets, it definitely affects how we behave in our marriage. It's our marriage mindset that shapes the foundation upon which our marriage relationships are built. And that's how important it is that we have the right mindset when it comes to marriage. It governs how we perceive our marriage relationship, it governs how we see our spouses. Our marriage mindset influences everything, from our intimacy to trust to parenting to our attitude to money to teamwork to how we approach our challenges, how we navigate our differences, and so on. Basically, a marriage mindset colors every interaction and every decision that we make within our marriage. And that's why we need to have the right mindset when it comes to our marriages. A limiting mindset hinders personal growth and success, because when someone has a limiting mindset, they have a self imposed barrier. They have already created those, they don't need anybody. They have created that barrier in their minds that is preventing them from reaching their full potential. So if somebody comes into marriage with with the mindset of, I'm just going to try it, my my parents' marriage didn't work, my siblings' marriage didn't work, I'm just going to see how it comes. I'm just going to see how it goes. They're already coming in with a mindset that's going to limit them. So it doesn't matter what happens, it doesn't matter what effort their spouses are putting into the marriage. There's a likelihood that that marriage will not work, because they already have mental barriers that have been formed from those their past experiences, or societal influences, or even ingrained habits of thinking. Sometimes the way we think has to do with our personality. We are people that are half empty or half full. Some people who are optimistic, some people are pessimistic. So if somebody has that ingrained habit of thinking that everything has to be half empty, then they are not likely to be optimistic, especially when their marriages are going through issues. They are likely to be pessimistic. They are likely to not put effort into actually making the marriage work. There are different types of mindsets that psychologists have described. I am not a psychologist, I'm always making that disclaimer in my videos, but let's just stick to looking at a fixed mindset and a growth mindset, and let's look at how they impact our relationships. Now, a fixed mindset refers to an individual, it's someone that believes that your abilities, your intelligence, and talent are static, so they cannot be developed over time. So, in the context of a marriage, someone who has a fixed mindset, they believe that partners are, it's either you're compatible or you're not compatible. They believe that love should be effortless. If we love each other, it doesn't have to be hard. We don't have to make effort. It just has to come naturally. It has to be effortless. They believe that people cannot fundamentally change. So they don't give their spouses the chance. They don't even believe that their spouses can change. They don't believe that they themselves can change. And this kind of perspective can lead to resignation when people are going through tough times. They view problems as immovable, they see problems as obstacles rather than opportunities for growth. And that's very, very limiting. As married couples, when we have issues, when we have problems, we should never see our problems as obstacles that we cannot surmount. We should see them as opportunities for us to grow. If we get over this, then it will help us to grow and become better people. A fixed mindset confines the individuals to a narrow scope of possibilities, and this stifles their personal and marital development. The possibilities are so narrow when it comes to people with fixed mindset. They don't give, it's hard for them to give second chances. It's hard for them to put the effort in, because they already think it's not going to work anyway. They believe that it's either going to work or it's not going to work. And because of that, if it's not working, they resign themselves to, that's it, it's not going to work. Those with fixed mindset, they're more likely to be threatened by their spouse's achievement, because they see their spouses as, opponents to beat. When things go wrong, they blame their spouses for their problems, or they blame external factors for problems in their marriage. There are people that remain in their comfort zone. They just want to do what they have always done. But the thing is, especially when a marriage is not, when we're having issues, We can't expect that we will continue to do the same thing and we get a different result. But people with fixed mindsets, they don't want to, they just stay in their comfort zone. They don't want to challenge themselves to do better in their marriage and in other areas of life. They have the tendencies to avoid challenges. They give up easily. They see making effort as pointless. Then there are people that are also reluctant to seek help because they see seeking help as a sign of weakness. And there are also people that ignore useful feedback. So when people give them feedback, either their spouses give them feedback or a counselor gives them feedback, they are likely to ignore those feedbacks because they see it as, they're more likely to see it as criticism. Unfortunately, people with a fixed mindset, they might not be aware, or even if you put it to them, they might not accept that that's how they see things. It's people around them that tend to see the trait. And for things to change, it's important that we check ourselves by all the many ways that a fixed mindset is exhibited, like the ones that I've mentioned, especially if there's trouble in our marriage that doesn't seem to be shifting, despite everything. In the second part of this video, hopefully I'll be looking at how we can become aware of our mindset so that if someone has a fixed mindset, they can become aware of it and what we can actually do about those mindsets that are not helping us. Now, a growth mindset is a belief that a person's capacities and talents can be improved over time. And this is the kind of mindset that we need to have if our marriage is going to succeed. The growth mindset is open to the effort, even if it takes time. A growth mindset knows that, yes, we might not be where we want to be, but we're making progress. That's all that matters. A growth mindset is happy with baby steps. Yes, we're making progress. A growth mindset is characterized by the belief that relationship require effort. It requires learning. It requires adaptation. And that is what we need. In marriage, we need to learn. In marriage, we need to adapt. In marriage, we need to put effort if it's going to work. Couples with with a growth mindset, they see challenges as invitations to deepen their connection and develop as individuals and as a unit. That's what we want. When we have problems, it's important that we don't see it as something that's going to break the marriage, rather than something that will help us to grow, that will help us to develop as individuals, that will make us better people, that will make us better husbands and better wives to our spouses. When we have a growth mindset, we are more likely to seek solutions. When there are issues, we seek help. We seek solutions. We're trying to see where are we going wrong. How can we do better? What can we do better? What can I do better? How can I be a better wife? How can I be a better husband? They embrace change. People with growth mindset, they embrace change and they support each other's personal evolution. They are patient with each other. They don't expect that, oh, my husband has to be perfect. They don't put the burden of perfection on each other. They support each other as they are growing. And a growth mindset embraces challenges and views failure as learning opportunities. So when we get it wrong, when we fail, we should see those failures rather than something that we can't come back from. We should see failures as learning opportunities. So in marriage, it's important that we both have a growth mindset. So I want to look at some areas that are impacted by our mindset. I've said that our mindset impacts all areas of our life, but I just want to pick specific areas where having the right mindset becomes very, very crucial in marriage. Now, expectations. Our expectations form a significant component of our married mindset. Some people have the expectation of fairy tales and an idealized vision of marriage, everlasting passion, effortless harmony, But when our reality diverges from these narratives, someone has a fixed mindset when it comes to their expectations, they will not be able to deal with it. Because the truth of life is, when life happens, the reality that we are hoping for diverges from the narrative of fairy tales. And through miscommunication, stress, changes in life, disappointment can arise. But couples who adopt a realistic yet a hopeful mindset know that when there are ups and downs in marriage, that's how it's part of life. It's an inherent thing. When you're in a long-term partnership, when you're in a long-term relationship, there are bound to be ups and downs. There are couples that are better equipped to weather the storm and to appreciate moments of joy in their marriages rather than expecting that their marriage will be perfect. Another important area that our mindset affect is in the area of the culture that we establish in our marriages. Some people believe that marriage is primarily, a union of families or a social contract. So they think it's okay for the extended families to get involved in their marriages, while some other people think that, a marriage is a personal work, it's a personal journey, it's a personal decision. My family should not be involved in my marriage. Some people have, they establish a culture of gender roles. They come into marriage thinking that, culturally, there's something that a woman must do, that some things that it's a man that must do it. Some people come, with different mindsets regarding child rearing, their finance, and expression of love, how you show me that you love me, and things like that. And all these things affects the culture that we form in our own marriages. The marriages that we also observe growing up, especially our parents' marriages, they tend to form a template upon which we establish different cultures in our own marriages. It's important as married couples that we recognize the influence of these early models, in our lives and how they affect us, affect our mindset concerning different areas of our marriages. It's important that we're able to draw from these models things that are positive while we're also making the effort to craft our own path, to make space for new understandings regarding marriage that will affect our mindset, that will help us to have the right mindset in our marriages. Another important area that our mindset affect in marriage is our communication, because how we communicate is a reflection of our marriage mindset. Someone with an open and honest mindset is able to have an open and honest conversation with their spouses, and this helps them to foster trust and resilience. But when we have someone with a closed mindset, they are likely to be combative in their exchanges, which then tends to perpetuate misunderstanding and resentment. When we have couples that have an adaptive mindset, they are more likely to see misunderstanding as opportunities to grow, opportunities to strengthen their bond, opportunities to actually learn more about each other rather than a threat to the life of the marriage. And when we have that approach, that open and honest approach, it encourages active listening, it encourages empathy, and it helps our willingness to forgive and to apologize to our spouses when we are wrong. An open and honest mindset helps us to not be defensive. It helps us to not rush into judgment, and it helps us to be able to be empathic with our spouses to say, why have they responded that way to what I've done? What can I learn from this conflict? And it opens door to deeper understanding and connection. It helps us to foster a sense of shared exploration rather than opposition. When somebody is closed door, it's a difficult thing. It's hard to say, if you like, you can tell someone that is closed up to have an open and honest conversation with their spouses. But because it's a mindset thing, and if they're not aware that they have a closed mindset, it will be really, really difficult for that person to be open and honest and to have any meaningful conversation or communication with their spouse. Another area that our mindset affects is in the area of how we handle challenges and change. A healthy marriage mindset helps us to develop resilience, gives us the ability, helps us to develop the ability to bounce back from adversity. Life will come with its challenges. Marriage itself is hard work. And it's important that if we don't have that, healthy mindset, it will be difficult to bounce back from adversities, whether financial pressures, or illness, parenting challenges, loss, and all that. When we view experiences as temporary hurdles, challenges and change, rather than disaster, oh, this marriage is done for now because of this and because of that, we are more likely to emerge stronger because change is inevitable. Every marriage we go through change, people change, disaster happen, but a healthy mindset helps us with adaptability. When somebody has a negative mindset, when it comes to change, when it comes to challenges, it will be very, very difficult for them to overcome them. Resilience and adaptability helps our marriage to face uncertainties with unity and grace. It helps us to, because we're working together, we see this change, we see, challenges as something that we face together rather than something that, that ends our marriages or that affects our relationship negatively. So it's important that we have that, that sense of positive mindset towards challenges. Another important area that our mindset in marriage affects is in the area of our shared vision and goals and dreams. There will always be an interplay between each partner's individual outlook and the shared vision and their goals as a family. Differences in mindset can create tension. For example, if you have a situation of a fixed mindset versus, growth mindset, a fixed mindset is thinking, oh, we can't do that. Oh, it's not possible. A growth mindset is thinking, oh, yeah, we can't do it. So that will create tension. But it can also be a source of strength when couples are able to navigate the terrain with respect and openness. Because the spouse with the growth mindset is usually then able to encourage and motivate the spouse with a fixed mindset to say, we can do it. We can do it. This is how I think we can do it, and motivate them towards the realization of their vision and goals. And regularly revisiting these shared values and dreams also help couples to stay aligned despite the differences in their individual perspectives. So I'm going to stop here. I've talked about the importance of mindset. Our mindset affects different areas of our life. It affects how we act, it affects how we think, it affects how we reason, it affects our perspective. That's why some people call it your mentality. And having the right mindset, a positive mindset, a growth mindset is important if we're going to make success of our marriages. Thank you so much for joining me. Just remember, like I always say, marriage is to be enjoyed, not to be merely endured. God bless you.